I call this section Cloudy Windows because it can be confusing to people. There are really 4 different kinds of logins on Windows, or at least Windows 10 and 11. Local accounts, Microsoft accounts, domain accounts, and Azure Active Directory accounts. So, well, they're not all in one place, so they're not all easy to see. So let's take a look at these. I'm going to open a virtual machine here, and let's see if I can get this down to the size of this window. Now I'm on a Windows 10 virtual machine. All of these are also available in Windows 11, but where you find them is a bit different. But let's just take a look at these. First of all, let's take a look at a local account. What that means is that I am on this machine. I'm not connected to a domain like my workplace or with Microsoft. Everything I do is contained here. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Start and then Settings. We're going to go to Accounts and Your Info, and you'll see it says right here, Local Account Administrator. So everything I do on this machine is mine. Everything I do is locally on this machine. But you notice it says sign in with a Microsoft account instead. And if I click that, I'm not going to go through the process and take your time up, but if I click that, I can sign in with my Microsoft account, and now I'm connected to the Microsoft servers. Here's what happens. The settings that I set on my machine, in other words, color preferences, things like that, are all saved now to the Microsoft server. So if I go to another computer that has Windows and I log on with my Microsoft account, all those settings follow me around. So that's one of the advantages of a Microsoft account. Of course, you also get some cloud storage and things like that. So some people like to stay on their Microsoft account. I typically like to stay on a local account until I need to be on the Microsoft account. That's just the way I like to work. All right, let's take a look here now. That's a local account and the Microsoft account. Next is the domain account. And I'm going to go back to the same machine. I'm going to go ahead and close that window. And I'm going to go up again to Settings, but this time I'm going to System and then About. And down here at the bottom of About, I see Rename this PC Advanced. I know that sounds like a kind of a funny place for this to be, but trust me here. This opens up an older window that comes from the control panel, and I'm going to click Change here, and now you'll see I am on a work group. If I join a domain, I have to log into that domain. Once I have a domain account, everything I do is controlled by that domain. Now I can still log on locally if I want to. I don't have to log on to the domain. And at the login screen, when you first come into Windows, you have that choice of logging on to the domain or logging on locally. However, if I'm logged on to the domain controller has full control over what I can do on that machine and on the domain. In effect, you are actually logged on to the domain, not to the computer. You can log on to the domain from any computer that's on the domain and have the same experience. So that's the difference between a domain and a local account. All right, finally we have this workplace or school account. I'm going to close this again. Let's go back here. The Azure Active Directory account is a work or school account that you join your computer to, but it does not have a local domain controller. Let's take a look at where we might see that. I'm going to go back to Settings and now down to Accounts, and now instead of Your Info like I was on before, I'm going to click Email and Accounts, and now you'll see Add a Work or School Account. That's what it's talking about right there. If I add a school account, I have to have credentials or work account. I have to have credentials from my work or my school, and I log on, and that work or school has some control over my computer, but that control is not coming from one of their own local servers. It's coming from Microsoft through the cloud service, the Azure Active Directory service, and can have some control. Now you can actually log on to only certain applications. So for example, I could log on to my email account, let's say my school Gmail account, and only allow the school to have access to that Gmail account, but nothing else on my computer. That is all possible through here as well. I'm not going to go through the steps to show how to do all that, but now you have seen all 4 account types. And if you're confused now, you'll understand why I called this Cloudy Windows.